Good morning. Happy Friday. We're taking a look at NQ this morning. Price poised to open within the prior day's range. Not all that surprising considering yesterday's expansion move, right? We got the big push higher yesterday. If we include that overnight action, pretty massive move. How many points are we talking? 560 points. So almost a 2 ATR move there in NQ yesterday. Typically, following those big expansion moves, you tend to see a little bit of compression, which can unfold in a handful of ways. For today, it could be just a very simple inside day, right? May just see an inside day from that prior day bar. Here's a look at the prior day's daily bar right through here. That's that daily bar from yesterday. Here's the current daily bar, which includes the overnight action, of course. So expectations pretty limited for today, as they usually are following a big expansion move. We also don't have any data today, and it is the last day for the contract roll. That's futures as well as options, right? So there's going to be some option expiration, some contract expiration action today. So as always, we want to see how that structure opens up this morning. What I'm going to be looking at early in the sesh here on NQ is how price trades versus that 20K area, that 20K level of interest. You can see it was tested during that pre-market session. Pretty nice bounce, right? Nice level to level move there up into the 2075 upside level of interest, which has kept a lid on price for the duration of this overnight session. Let's have a look at that prior day session here, that prior day structure rather. Here's your regular trading hours chart, 5 minute. And so price currently sitting, kind of between where we at. We're at 20.025, so just above this 20K level. Now, if 20K fails and that prior day low fails, if some sellers step in today, we do still have the big gap below. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. You start to see that prior day low fail, probably want to be careful with that 925 area until you see some higher time frame respect of that point. Otherwise, watch for the gap fill trade. So there's going to be a key zone that I'll be looking at here this morning, the 20K down into the prior day low. And in the near term, like I said, that's a critical area for buyers to continue to defend. So that's NQ 20K main watch off the open here. No data, like I said, at 10 a.m. or anything like that. Let's see how that intraday structure kind of unfolds. And let me jump over to ES. So ES down through that overnight low, through that pre-market low. Let's take a look at the 15 minute. So pretty similar type of structure. ES is kind of in no man's land for me, kind of between two levels of interest. So I won't be looking at this off of the open. I'd need to see some action near 57.70 or down into 57.50, which is that prior day low. So kind of going to just open here near some prior day structure points. I'm not all that interested in getting involved with this area. If it starts to reclaim the 57.70, that would be significant. But in the meantime, just going to let that structure build out and see how we're looking once we get into the regular session here. So NQ, definitely the focus early on. And we've got the open here in about 30 seconds. Yeah, you got a little indecision there on the regular trading hours chart. Definitely that daily bar. There it is. Doji. So indecision. Some indecision there. Here's the open. Okay, so a little bit of push off of the open there. No rush, per usual, right? No rush. So NQ just shy of that 2075, about 15 points shy here. So far, buyers stepping in pretty well off of the open. We don't have a gap this morning. No gap, right? So no gap to worry about, no gap to think about. So let's see the reaction here into that overnight high, 2075. That's your target. If you're doing any sort of opening drive trade, that's your first target. And some rejection there. Back into that VWAP area, that opening price, New York opening price point. I see ES still kind of near that pre-market low. Got that opening 5-minute bar closing in 1 minute here. Back into the highs. If you're long from VWAP, you trim there. It's your trim spot. How's ES doing? Any movement yet? Nope. No real movement on ES just yet. So buyers are looking to break this 2075 level of interest. It's that overnight high, remember? There's the retest, pre-market high. See if they can break it. See if buyers can break above. ES looks like it's testing VWAP. Yep, underside of VWAP there. Yeah, the VWAP setup on you talking to NQ? Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, NQ. Yep. See if buyers can break the 75. 75 main watch right now on NQ. ES retesting the highs, retesting VWAP there. NQ still the main focus. There it goes. New high of day there on NQ. And back below. A little up thrust so far. Up thrusty. Another good example of why you don't trade breakouts in the index. Another good example. If you weren't convinced by now. Cup and handle. Cup and handle. Grab that 1970s technical analysis book, didn't you? We got 4 minutes till this opening. 15-minute bar closes up. We're staying patient. Volume's kind of light. We're still an inside day, right? So no big rush here. Patience. Intraday range so far is what, 50 points on NQ. That's nothing. Let's see, where's the there's the low right there. Yeah, 51 points. Nine points on ES. Yeah, a wider range. Wider range would be nice. No doubt. Tighter the range, the less room you have for air. And if the range compresses, you find yourself in some trouble. But it's still early. It's still very early. We're only 10 minutes in. All right, into the lows, NQ into the lows. Keep an eye on that 15-minute bar. Closes in 2 minutes here. And Q, some buyers stepping in there versus VWAP, session volume point of control, saving that 15-minute bar. 2075, 20075 stays on watch. That's that upside level of interest. Pre-market high. Pretty slow open so far. There's your first 15-minute bar closing up here in a few seconds. Big wick on top of it, but within the context of that overnight range. So let's see how it keeps building. Looks like ES is into the session lows. So a nice reject of VWAP right there. This is your target if you're short on ES. Big divergence. Well, not necessarily a big divergence, but definitely a divergence from NQ. NQ back near the low. Session low. Pretty choppy so far. See if price can break that 75 yet. Back near 70. Just a little ping pong. Back into the low. Price has yet to sustain any move outside of that opening 5-minute bar. So NQ just sitting here on VWAP. There we go. Back near the low. See if we get that retest of the 20K. Price holds the low. back near 70. Back in, there we go, there's 75. Looking for a break of this intraday range. And rejected. Oh boy. One of those mornings. So we got 8 minutes till 10 a.m. No data at 10 a.m. Check your 5-minute barcode, right? Barcode. Definitely some wicks on these candles. But price, like I said earlier, price has yet to sustain outside of that opening 5-minute bar. Mostly interested in this area down here. Or a break above this area with maybe a retest. But current action is not all that unusual for contract expiration. NQ just back into the low here. Session low, very tight intraday range. Still talking about a 50-point range intraday. Patience. Patience is key. There's your new low of day there on NQ. Looks like ES is sitting on the lows as well. And we have about 5 minutes till 10. 5 minutes till 10 a.m. New low of day there, NQ. $20K at 10 a.m. would be welcomed. But so far, it's just a very tight intraday range. Another new low there for NQ. Volume is really tapering down already. $20K is now on watch. $20K level of interest. And you'll have that first 30-minute bar here in about 2 minutes. We're doing with ES, just sitting on the lows still. There's your 20K. Where's the actual pre-market low? It looks like it's down into 980. So let's see the reaction here as we get into 10 a.m. You got the pre-market low at 980. Then your prior day low at 964. Kind of a wide area, but this whole area is on watch. Better volume coming in now. ES going to be working on that 5750 here momentarily. No bid so far at the 20K. Let's see how the overnight low is going to be treated. And are we 10 a.m. yet? Yeah, just about 10 seconds till 10 a.m. So if 20K is going to hold, buyers need to step in here. Otherwise, you're looking at overnight low and then potentially prior day low. Prior day low is that last line in the sand before the gap, remember. Here's ES into the prior day low now. 5750 area. And NQ, next reference point, overnight low. Here it is right here. Much better volume now. See how this pre-market low zone is treated. Back up through 20K. No break of the prior bar high just yet. There's your break of the prior bar high. So buyers will look to sustain 20K now. Would have preferred to have seen a little undercut of that overnight low there. A little bit of a spring. May get it right here. ES was pretty responsive to that 57.50. And that's kind of the line in the sand there for ES before that overnight gap. Keep that gap in mind from yesterday morning. If you look at a regular trading hours chart, it should be visible. So if this 5-minute bar closes green, buyers will be looking to definitely defend the low of that bar. Let's see. Still have 90 seconds. And what you can do, as always, is take your intraday fib now. From the high down into the low there. There's your 30%, 38% retracement, value area low. Keep an eye on that 5-minute bar here. How'd that profile look? Not a ton of volume down there. Not a ton of volume. CES. So still holding the low for now. NQ into that value area low for the session. It's a reference point for the volume profile enjoyers. And then you have VWAP. It's going to be that next overhead reference point, kind of in that 50% retracement area. Session volume point of control right through there as well. All through here. Volume tapering back down again. That 5-minute bar ended up closing green. So like I said, buyers will definitely be looking to defend that low, that pre-market low. $30 to 006 smashed. I have no idea what that means. So NQ, see if you get a higher low here. Or sellers just flush it. Yeah, the spring at the pre-market low would have been nice. Volume is not super compelling here, so something to keep in mind. And Q still bumping into this value area low for the sesh. Got some pre-market structure right through there as well. Oh, that was a short trade. Got you. Nice. Back into 20K here. NQ. ES pretty much still here. NQ 20K stays on watch, as well as that pre-market low. Next 15-minute bar closes here in less than 5 minutes. There's your 20K again. So let's see if we get that spring set up, or what this is looking like here near that critical zone. NQ back into the lows. Session low. ES did undercut the low. You have a new low of day there on ES if you're looking at ES. Keep that on watch. This is that line in the sand on ES here. Remember the gap, unfilled gap, unfilled gap. NQ new low, there's that pre-market low. Let's see the reaction here. Then your next reference point, if this area fails, is the prior day low, 964. NQ. ES, no bid there so far, 57.50. So it's into that gap. Maybe giving some clues here for NQ. Here comes that prior day low. So if the prior day low fails, personally won't be all that interested in the 925 till we start to see, like I mentioned before the session, some higher time frame development. Was that, like I said, that line in the sand zone. There's your next 15-minute bar opening up. And now price rejecting the 20K. Retest of 20K rejected. Yeah, this is that that contract expiration action here. Contract expiration. It's not too late for a higher low off 20K. It could still happen. Can still get it. See how ES is doing. So ES retesting that 57.50 area. I keep thinking my charts are frozen because this thing is just not moving. So NQ just sitting here, pre-market low, watching that 20K area, 20K. As mentioned a few times now, that volume is just non-existent. Only 45 minutes into the sesh, volume's already pretty dry. Here's that 20K. Let's see if buyers can break this area. And if you get the retest, that may be worth keeping an eye on. Nice bounce on ES as well. So let's see if there's any type of market structure that develops here above the 20K area, 20K level of interest. Not yet. Not yet. Wiki. And we're back into the lows on NQ. ES, you can see a change in character here intraday if price can break essentially 5-6. Up through 5-6 with acceptance would give you a change in character. On the S&P. For NQ, you'd need this area right there here. Yeah, you got to stay hydrated. 3 sips per 5-minute candle. It's in the playbook, man. Come on. Thought you knew. Thought you knew that already. Kind of thirsty just thinking about it, actually. 1970s. That's funny. ES making a shot at that change in character here intraday. Definitely more responsive buyers here in ES this morning. And keep an eye, this still has 8 minutes before it closes, but keep an eye on that 15-minute bar. Oh, and the 30 for that matter. 30 setting up a potential hammer there. So no higher low at that 20K. with that blip above, and we're back into the lows. Let's see this prior day low area. Prior day low is 964. How's the profile looking? Not a ton of activity down here. Again, volume is just, I mean, this is can't be that surprised by it. It's pretty typical for the day. Contract expiration day. All right, back into 20K. Almost 1 hour into the sesh. Pretty slow. Pretty slow. So again, the 20K stays on watch. Said that about 50 times now. What are we doing with ES? So nice intraday change in character. Divergence continues between ES and NQ. I think I finally got rid of the Halloween music on my playlist. So NQ coming into that lower high now. Pre-market low holding pretty nicely. Has some support. Like we talked about a few times now today, that was a critical area between 20K and prior day low, with that pre-market low kind of sandwiched right in the middle there. ES back into that pre-market low. Watch the reaction here at 20K for NQ as well. I want to see buyers defend this point. Would be nice to see that profile shift down here. That would definitely add some conviction. And back into 20K. No hold of the 20K. 15-minute bar closes in 90 seconds here. And the 30-minute shows just a big doji. Indecision. So let's see these next kind of 90 seconds for the closure of those bars. See if we get some clues. How's our profile looking? No real update. It's just not a ton of volume here. Not a ton of volume being done. ES, some sellers stepping in versus that pre-market low. Officially 1 hour into the sesh. Pretty, it's more of a doji there on ES. But a nice hold so far. That level of interest, prior day low area. More responsive buyers here in ES so far this morning. NQ, no real hold of the 20K there. Probably give it another 30 or so before we call it a day and a week. Let's see this pre-market low on NQ. 19,980. There it is. Retest. And then your prior day low, where are we at again? 964. So not really the response, like if this is going to hold, it's not really the response that you would want to see. At least me personally. Support's going to hold, you want buyers really stepping in to defend it. Kind of like we talked about yesterday in the TMG. More explosive response versus the zone that you're interested in. There's your new low. Prior day low, last reference point here before the gap. So buyers trying to force a little bit of a spring setup there. Back into 20K. Now, if that was a legit spring, you want to see 20K breaking and price up through this kind of intraday structure here. No follow through. Higher low on ES. Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Layup right there. Right into the structure as well. Yeah, ES looks better today. Definitely. So far, anyway. That was the first decent trade I saw on NQ, personally. And no follow through. Little spring setup, intraday structure, pre-market low. Current action is not all that compelling, if you ask me. So if we can get the session profile, the volume point of control to shift down here, that would look better. Definitely would look better. Keep an eye on that 5-minute as well. Still watching this same zone. 20K pre-market low, prior day low. 15-minute, you may have a hammer right here. Still has 7 minutes before it closes. And again, this is that line in the sand for buyers here, all through here. 20K level of interest, overnight low, prior day low, big gap beneath. It's definitely starting to look a little better on the 5-minute. Let's see how it continues to build. There we go, up through 20K. up into kind of that structure high there. So now we want to see if buyers can sustain 20K, if they can show acceptance above 20K and break this kind of late morning, mid morning range here. It's the idea. Nope. Nope, down through 20K now. This could be the structure for the sesh. Yeah, this looks like an afternoon base. Back into pre-market low. How's our profile looking? Man, there's nothing on the profile. Typically, like a normal day, you'd expect to already see that volume point of control shift down here. Yeah, Mish, that trade was not a wait and see trade for me. So for my, unless you're talking about something different, but my entry went right away. It was never red. Unless you're talking about something different. Try another little scalp right there. Per the pre-market low and intraday structure, long setup, no follow through, just knocked right back down at 20K. So longs aren't really showing a ton of follow through right now, but price is currently into a key area of support, at least in the near term, with very limited volume. Best case right now, from my perspective, is a break of this area. Break above or break below. Trades within, a little dicey right now. Little dicey. Check the volume. I mean, it's just, there's no involvement. No market participation here. So that's telling me to, do less and probably just call it a day. Yeah, volume's way below average. So I think we'll wrap it up there. It was a good week. Don't want to do any damage to our gains this week on a Quadwitch Friday with low volume. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. So we got two little baby scalps on the sesh. Yeah, break and retest of the range would be great, but I would rather just set alerts and work on something else and keep an eye on it that way, rather than sit here with you guys watching every single candle unfold. So that's the game plan. Slap some alerts above and below the range. Otherwise, it's like watching paint dry. Hope you guys had a good day, good morning, and a good week. I'll be in the think tank for the rest of the day if you need me. Have a great weekend.